There is a domestic terrorist group now officially identified by Pam Bondi, and they're called Democrats. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel as we document the normalization of Democrat homegrown terror against Tesla. Watch this.
All right, I want to ask you about these attacks on Tesla taking place across the country. You've recently said that they are acts of domestic terrorism.
Yes.
Obviously, in bringing up the concept of domestic terrorism, I would think that opens up your department and the FBI into investigating who is funding these attacks. Are they organized? What can you tell us about all of this, which many are seeing on their screen right now at Tesla dealerships, and it's taking place all over the country?
These attacks are taking place throughout our country. We have charged multiple people. Get ready, more coming. One we charged in Oregon is facing 5 to 20 years in prison. We filed in Colorado. We filed in South Carolina. There are more coming. And yes, the funding is one thing we are looking at among many others. I was personally in a meeting about it this morning. We are coming after you. We believe these are organized. These are not individuals out there throughout the country doing this on their own. They're targeting Tesla owners. They're targeting Tesla dealerships. They're targeting Elon Musk, who is out there trying to save our country, and it will not be tolerated. We are coming after you. We will find you. And if you are an organized group who is funding this, we're going to find you too. You better look out and you better stop it.
And to be clear, you said you came out of a meeting this morning. At least to some extent, you are seeing some level of organization and behind the scenes funding that you can investigate and potentially prosecute?
That's everything that we're looking at. Yes, we're looking at all aspects of it. These are not isolated individual events.
Okay, so it becomes a conspiracy if it's actually funded, a legit one. This person's on video vandalizing a Tesla. This is in Syracuse, New York. It says, "Find him." That's a he. He writes, "This car supports Nazis." So that's the actual writing down below. And this is the video captured from the Tesla while he's on the ground doing his writing there. Just a random act. The person just parked a Tesla there, and that's what you get. That's a Democrat.
When conservatives didn't agree with Bud Light, we just stopped buying their beer. But when Democrats disagree with a company like Tesla, they turn into ISIS.
Democrats turn into ISIS, homegrown terror. You want to see, here's another random act against a Tesla caught on video. Man causes $3,000 worth of damage to a Tesla Model Y after smashing it with his suitcase. The incident happened at the Ontario Airport parking lot. This is in Ontario, California. That's over by Upland. So watch this guy. He's got a suitcase. He just walks by a Tesla. He doesn't know whose car that is. That could be his grandma. Look there's the damage. That's the guy we're looking for. Do you see him? Have you seen this man? If he looks familiar to you and you know someone out in Ontario, there he is. We went into a lot of the John Roberts stuff. I wanted to get into some of that with Mark Levin. It's telling Judge John Roberts to grow a pair. Now, this is a very complicated story, and I like guys like Mark Levin because he helps unpack it for us.
I would say to John Roberts, who I knew before he was a judge, when we both worked in the Reagan administration, it's time to grow a pair, Judge. Think about Justice Rehnquist. What would Justice Rehnquist, the Chief Justice, have done when those 4 originalists 2 weeks ago, when this case involving another rogue Democrat judge, ordered the President of the United States to spend money on foreign activities? What would Rehnquist have done? Would he have joined the 4 or would he have joined the radical 3? This is an issue of separation of powers, and if it's not resolved, you basically, in the form of your question, have answered it. How the hell are we going to have 680 individual, unelected federal judges, they're federal district judges, not federal national judges, all sitting there behind their desks with their 2 or 3 clerks saying, you know, I don't like this idea, Trump sending this. I don't like this idea, banning transgender. I don't like this idea. This is exactly what Locke and Montesquieu and Jefferson and Madison warned. When you have a combination of branches rather than separation of branches, and Scalia did too, you have a tyranny. And I don't care about what John Roberts pronounces from the bench. Do your job, Chief Justice of the United States. Don't get into the political fight. Fix it. Because if you don't fix it, we're going to lose our constitutional construct, or Congress is going to have to figure out some way to fix it. One other thing. The idea, and I've even heard it on my beloved network from some of these former whatevers, that we shouldn't raise our voice. That's our job. This government exists for we the people. It doesn't exist for John Roberts, the judges, Congress, or anybody else. This whole thing was set up for us, to protect us. When these judges are conducting themselves this way, when they're interfering with an election, when they're grabbing, seizing power in front of our eyes, we're all smart, we see it, from the executive branch, a president of the United States, he's elected nationally. They're created by Congress. They're not even in the Constitution. They're using a power, judicial review, that's not even in the Constitution, that was created by the Supreme Court in 1803. They should at least have some level of deference to the President of the United States. And notice one other thing. Compare the number of restraining orders, injunctions, and reversals that Donald Trump has had with the last 10 presidents of the United States.
We just have those up on the board, Mark.
It is grotesque.
Yeah, Trump is being treated unfairly. It's empirical. You just look at who are the politicized judges. They are what party? Democrat appointed. Never put an X next to a Democrat, because they will appoint judges that are not looking for justice, but their sole goal is to undermine a Republican president. And that's what they've done. They've overturned and done more injunctions against Trump than any other president in the last 10, 20 years. It's very obvious what's going on with these judges. And all Mark Levin is saying, look, call it what it is. And he expects guys like Roberts to be a little more mature about it and savvy about it.
Politically, let us not pretend that Democrats have not in the past stated that a president of their party should not ignore judges. I remember AOC just a year or two ago talking about President Biden should ignore the ruling for judges as it pertains to forgiving student debt. There were a lot of Democrats who made that argument at the time. I disagreed. With that said, earlier today we had Roberto Gonzalez on, former AG under George W. Bush, who was pretty clear. He didn't necessarily agree with the post from the president, but he said from his opinion as an attorney, he's almost certain that the Supreme Court would agree that the president has the authority to absolutely ship these criminals out of our country. And the fact that Democrats want to die on this issue, more power to them. More power to them. This is not a winning issue for Democrats.
Good. We want them to keep losing on this issue because we like seeing the Democrats lose. On who is the Democrat? Apparently, this is another stat on who likes Trump and who doesn't like Trump. It's college-age white women who are being brainwashed in your schools to hate Trump.
So see this. White women with at least a college degree, the only group of white voters that really kind of is on the left politically, aligned with progressive causes, democratic politics. Give you an example here. It's that
white women with a college degree. People, when you send your girls to college, make sure the college is not woke. There's very few of them that aren't woke. But that's where they get brainwashed, and they're weak-minded. And that's why they go Democrat.
DEI question, right here that we asked about in our poll. We had two big statements we read to voters. Basically, do you want to continue DEI programs or do you think they should be ended? And again, look at this divide here. White men, no degree, end it. White men with a degree, end it, they say. White women, no degree, end it, they say, by double digits. And then white women with a college degree, completely different by a nearly 40-point margin. They say to continue.
That's absolute proof of brainwashing, top to bottom. White women in college want to continue a DEI program. Maybe they know that they could never make it without a DEI program because their merit is so bad. It's poison. The colleges are poison, and it mostly only works on white women going to woke schools. Thanks for watching. I'm Doug.